Alright, so today we are going to find the mean of a frequency distribution. So in my last video, we basically built a frequency distribution out of the data that we got. We're going to be using the same data and the same table today to find the mean of a frequency distribution. So we are going to use the formula x bar is equal to the sum of f times x over the sum of f to find the mean of the frequency distribution. F referring to the frequency and x is referring to your midpoint. So if we go back to our frequency distribution table, we have f, which is a frequency, how many times these values corresponding to the classes show up. So 4 times for this class, 8 times for this class, 0 times for this class, and so on and so forth. Your midpoint is basically just adding these two classes and dividing by 2. That is going to give us your midpoint. So that's the middle point of your class. So we're going to have 51.5, 59 point. Sorry about that. All right, where were we? Oh yeah, so midpoint. Yeah, that's how we did it. So we are going to use the same data that we got in the previous video. So the example is find the mean of the frequency distribution referring to the heights of 20 students in a math course. We got 48, 52, 52. Those are our values. The heights of the students, of 20 students. Doesn't have the units, but we're going to say they're inches. So 48 inches and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and do this right now. So let's refer back to the formula. We're going to use this pen. Let's refer back to the formula. So let us take care of the numerator first. The sum of f times x. So what does the formula want us to do? Notice that we already have f and we have x. So, and we have an empty fourth column. So the formula is asking for us to multiply these two and add the sum of all of these multiplications together. So let's go ahead and do one of them. Let's go ahead and multiply f times x, which is 4 times 51.5. We're going to add, just like that, we're going to add a little multiplication sign, an equal sign. That's going, and this column is going to be called f times x, by the way, f times x, just like that. So 4 times 51.5, we're going to have to compute that with our calculator. So oops, we got 4 times 51.5, 51.5 is equal to 206. I'm just going to go on our first row, 206. Let's go ahead and do another one, the next one, 8 times f times x, which is 8 times 59.5. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Yeah, just like that. Gonna take our calculator and we're gonna go ahead and do that. So 8 times 59.5, 59.5, 476, 476, 476, 476, just like that. So now that you get the whole idea of it, just multiply every single value and just give me the product of that value into this fourth column, and just do that for all of the values that we have here, and we'll come back and see what we got. Okay, so this is what we should have gotten for the multiplication of the f times x. So we're going to go back to the formula and see what else it wants from us. So go back to the numerator, the sum of f times x. So it wants the sum of f times x. It doesn't just want f times x. It wants the sum of f times x. So we're going to go back to our f times x column. And we're going to basically just add all of these values together to get the sum of f times x. So the sum, the sum of f times x is equal to. So yeah, just add all of these numbers together and we'll come back and see what we got. So we should have gotten 1,302 for the sum of f times x. So that's going to be your numerator. We're already done with that part of the equation. So x bar is equal to 1,302, just like that. And we need to find our denominator, which is the sum of f. So what does it want us to do now? We go to our f column, because that's what it's asking for us to do. Go to your f column, which is a frequency, and yeah, just add all of these together again, because it's a sum of f. Add all of these together, and just we'll come back and see what we got. So we should have gotten 20, because this is a frequency. This is basically corresponds to the 20 students in a math course, and these are their heights. So we should have gotten 20. 20 is the sum of f, because we have 20 students. So 1302 divided by 20, just like that. And we're going to compute that to get 65.1. That is going to be your mean of the frequency distribution. It's that easy. The sum of f times x, this row, divided by the sum of 20. I mean the sum of f, which is 20, divide that together, and you'll get 61.5. So that is the mean of the frequency distribution. So now we are going to basically find the standard deviation of the frequency distribution. We're going to use the same data, and we're going to find the frequency distribution for this tabulation. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. All right, so this is the equation for the standard deviation of a frequency distribution. So S equals to the square root of n, your sample size, n times the sum of f times x squared minus the sum of f times x, and then you square all of that, divided by this n times n minus 1. So yeah, so we're gonna want the sum of f times x squared. X squared is we're gonna compute that. N is obviously gonna be your 20, because there's 20 students, and the sum of f times x, we're gonna use the sum of f times x, a column for that, and then we're gonna square all that. Then we're going to divide it all by n times n minus 1, and then square root that to get your standard deviation. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So you need to get what is already given to you. We have x, which is 51.5. That's your mid value, just like the previous example of the tabulation of the data and the mean of the frequency distribution. That's your x. And you have your frequency, your f, you have the classes again, and you have f times x, which is a row that we already did in the previous example. So let me take that out. So we already have f times x, because we already did that. So basically just put your f times x in this column. So yeah, we're gonna go back and we're gonna go ahead and do that. So just like that, just the products that you got for the last example for your f times x row from the mean. So we are going to fill out the rest of the table. So now that we got frequency, your f times x, your x, it wants us to find, let's find x squared. So that's gonna give us a whole different column. So your column is gonna be x squared, because that is one of the components that will make up your equation in f times x squared. So let's go ahead and do that right now. We have x squared. So what is x squared? It basically, all it wants us to do is get let's say, for example, 51.5 and square that. So let's do that right now. Just squared 51.5. So 51.5, which is one of your x values, your midpoints, squared 2652.25. Let's go ahead and write that down for x squared. 2,652.25. Just like that. Again, the same thing for 59.5. You square that and you write it down in your column. 59.5 squared. 3,540.25. So again, 3,540.25. So just go ahead and do that for all of them, and again, we'll come back and we'll see what we got. So these are the values we should have gotten for x squared. Just like that, just compare your answers to mine, and we are going to find our sixth column for this table that we're going to use to plug into our equation. So we already have f times x. We already have that, f times x. We already have our n, which is 20, which is the sample size, the amount of students that we have in in this data set, and we just need the sum of f times x squared. So we already have x squared. We already have f. So it wants us to basically we just need the sum of f times x squared. So we need to multiply f times x squared. We're going to put it in this column. So f times x squared. F times x squared. Just like that. Whatever looks like that. So we want f times x squared, and we want the sum of that, and then we'll be able to compute it in our formula. So basically just multiply 4 times 2,652.25 for all of them. Nothing new. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do a couple of them. So f times x squared. So 4 is your f, times x squared. 2,652.25. That is going to give us 10,609. It's going to be your f times x squared. So 10,609. Just to clarify, we got that by multiplying f, which is your 4, times x squared, which is 2,652.25. Let's go ahead and do that for the other one. 8 times 3,540.25. So let's go ahead and do that for that one. That's 8 times 3,540.25. That is going to give us 28,322. So 28,322. Sorry about that. 28,322. Just like that. So go ahead and compute for all of them, and we'll come back and we'll see what we got. Alright, so this is what we should have gotten for our f times x squared column. So now we are ready to construct our formula. So we go back to the formula and we'll see what it wants from us. So it obviously wants the sum of f times x squared, this little first part, sum of f times x squared. So basically it just wants us to add all of these numbers together. That's going to be your sum of f times x squared. So sum of f times x squared is equal to, that's going to be your sum. So what else does it want from us? It wants the sum of f times x, and it wants us to square that. So we go to the sum of f times x. We add all of them together. The sum of f times x is equal to. So it wants that. What else does it want? And it wants n. So obviously n is going to be our sample size. N is equal to 20 because we have this is representing the heights of 20 students in a math course, so 20, and if you add f together, it's gonna equal to 20. So we already got that. So it's gonna just we're gonna find the sum of f times x and the sum of f times x squared. So we'll come back and we'll see what we got. So this is what we should have gotten for the sums. So now we are ready to construct our equation. Let's go ahead and do that. So we have s is equal to the square root of n, which is your sample size, so n 20. Remember, n is 20. N is 20 times the sum of f times x squared, which we got right here. The sum of f times x squared, 8,000, 87,077. 87,077 minus the sum of f times x. And you square all of that, so the sum of f times x, 1302, and you square that, so 1302. 1302. You square all of that. Divided by n, which is again 20 sample size, times n minus 1, 20 minus 1, 19. So we are going to compute this, and this is going to, if you basically just do the top portion first, just this top portion, we are going to get we're going to get 46,336. If you compute this bottom part, it's going to give us 380. And we are going to have to square root it. And that, put it in your calculator, and you're going to get 11.043. 11.043. That is going to be the standard deviation of frequency distribution. 11.043. And that is how you compute the standard deviation of frequency distribution and the mean of the frequency distribution. So thank you for watching.